Okay, so I've gotten this far. Got the head all bolted down. Got head studs in it. I got all the bracketry on. All the front crap on. So right now I'm just mocking up the turbo with some crappy bolts I've laid around because I don't have the right bolts for this, since you had a TBI manifold which bolts are like that long on it, and then the exhaust manifold, it had studs on it, but they were like rotted because, you know, it's exhaust. Anyway, I was mocking the turbo up and it looks like it will fit. And so this manifold, like I said, is T3 adapted, and if you can see in there's kind of a gap right now, and I think it's for, I think someone's using a much bigger turbo than this with this manifold, since as you can see there's no spacer and it clears the intake manifold fine. And I imagine some people were using turbochargers where the compressor housing was too big and they were running into this, so you'd space it off. What is that, like 3/4 of an inch long or something, that piece right there? But it doesn't need it, and they accounted for having that spacer in there, so just this stud right here is hitting it. So I can either run the spacer and hope it doesn't hit the firewall back here, or what I might do is just get some shorter studs for this, back those out and get ones that are, you know, exactly that thickness shorter, call it good and pop it on. And it won't have that problem, since having less gaskets would be preferable. But just get a pretty shot of this sucker. I think it looks kind of weird back here because I'm used to having, you know, 2 cams and everything's more uniform up in one spot. This is real weird having all this empty space right here. Right here. That's just odd. But check that out. Chinese TO4E seems to fit perfectly fine. So from this point on, I need to get the wastegate housing, and if I can run this directly down like this, and hopefully the boost tubes can, you know, will fit properly there, I think I can almost get this wastegate arm to mount almost directly right there. I might have to clock it in a little more, but that should work perfect. I need to get the oil feed set up and then the oil drain set up, which, see, there's oil drain feedback right there. I was thinking about possibly tapping this and putting like an AN fitting and just have it run right there, but it's kind of a tight turn. I think that would work better for rubber, since the braided stuff is kind of stiff and doesn't want to go that way. I know there's some other technology I could use. I can't remember the name of it right now, but they're kind of like AN fittings, but the outside's not so stiff, and you can ride it a lot easier. And then from this point, I can just get the alternator and all the crap on. I get the oil pan on after I get one with oil pump, and put the distributor in, call it, and time it as much as I can with all the crap that's on it now. Time it up here, put the belt, blah blah blah, time it, yeah, all that crap in. Find the right studs for the exhaust, and then I think I can start dropping this in and seeing where I need to go from here. Because from that point, I would need to start running the install the intercooler, install a radiator, and go from that point on. So I will update you guys when I need to record something important, because this isn't really important. So okay. I got the engine pretty much all together. I just got to do the water stuff. So run the 4th cylinder coolant mod, and then block off for, I guess I don't need the turbo one because not running coolant on the turbo, running oil only. So I'll probably pull this out, put a thermostat or thermometer in there, call that good. Got the oil pan on, got the oil pickup in, oil pump in, primed it, or I loaded it with grease, so it should be ready to prime. Timing belts on. Got this nifty 5/8 oil return in there. I tapped this with a 1/2 inch NPT, and I can probably splice in a video here of how I did that. Kind of ghetto. Looking pretty mint there, bud. Also, I didn't have the right size chuck for this thing here, so I took 13mm impact socket, used the wrong side of it because this is a 1/2 inch, and put a bolt in there and triple nutted it and just sit there and cranked on it. She did pretty good, bud. And then I need to do more mock up on the turbo and stuff. So I still got to figure out how I want to run the oil and water lines, or oil lines. Past that, I think the only stupid stuff I have to finish is figure out what to block that off with, because I think that used to be the oil or the water return for the turbo. Since I'm not using that, I just put a bolt in it. It's really weird. It's not NPT. It's some weird thread or normal like M10 or M12 or something like that. And then I need to pull this oil galley plug out. I don't know if I can see it very well, but it's in there crooked because I didn't have a good angle to go straight at it, so it's in there crooked. I'm still kind of skeptical on if I got all these in right. The core plugs, because from my understanding, they're supposed to go in pretty tough. Like you have to hammer them in. These did not want to do that. I mean, I stuck them in here with a socket, you know, whack, but it didn't really add any more resistance to it. So that's cool. Hopefully they don't leak. Same thing with the oil galley plug on the front. And then there's an oil galley plug on the rear, like I was saying. So past that, I think I need to wait on a little bit more parts come in. So I got to finish the turbo drain mock up and all this other crap. And then I'll update the video a little more. Okay, so I'm mocking up the AC condenser. And it looks like I can just move it over and move the horn out of the way. But as you can see, clearly enough room now to run some piping. So that'll work. I'll just need to drill more holes kind of like that, about what, 4 inches to the right. Put a little black mark right there. Focus. Black mark right there. And a black mark right there where I need to drill them. And then the fun part will be trying to bend these lines in the right shape. It looks like it'll all work with everything in here. I just need to cock them, try to guess, probably 60 degrees to the left. This one actually doesn't need bent. It just needs shortened. But I might just have to deal with it being kind of kinked. As long as like, oh yeah, that's like hard kinked right there. So I'm going to have to figure that out. Past that, now that I have this kind of thought out, now I got to figure out where to put the intercooler. So there's clearly tons and tons of room in here, but what I should mount to is kind of what I'm trying to figure out. So if I take the intercooler here, as you can see, it's like an MR2 style intercooler, and it's got a slant on both sides, which makes this kind of an awkward thing to install, because the bosses are actually cast on the slant and they're tapped. So I would have to literally mount the intercooler like dog-eyed, and then still the bottom ones would have to be, I'm gonna have to like weird slanted stuff everywhere. So I just need to figure out what would be the best way of mounting that down there. I've debated if I should try to move this support bracket further back and like reinforce it over here and put it tucked up against the condenser to help with more even airflow. I imagine if I attach it to the bumper, it's strong enough, but it's, what is that, a good foot? There's a good foot in there. So if I have the intercooler a foot ahead of the condenser and radiator and fan, would that add weird turbulence into it? So I just need to kind of think about it, I guess. Fun stuff. And then still just waiting on some stuff for the motor. And after I get that together, I can go ahead and bolt the transmission to it and drop her in. And then do wiring. Yay, wiring. I don't know how this footage will turn out since it's really dark in here, or in that corner. I have like zero space to work with, and I can't really move the condenser much because I'll ruin it. Got this on the power steering pump here. Okay, so let's go ahead and measure that hole. So from center line, it's about a little over 1.5 inches. So from the top, it's exactly 2 inches. That'd be an easier measurement point to go from. So I'll go from there. What I should have done is grab a Sharpie before I got in here, but you know what? Too late now. Okay, so you know what? I'll go grab a Sharpie real quick. Okay, all's up there. I also got a center punch. So let's clean the area off a little bit. Okay. What did I do for man, the floor is slippery. There's ATF all over the floor. Hammer. Punch. Did I leave the Sharpie up there? You're back again. I have the camera, my phone, on a tripod with a hair tie holding it onto it because I don't have a mount. That's how you get stuff done. All right. So here's my center edge. Let's. All right. Take tape measure. So about 2 inches from the top, what it was. Well, if I measure again, it's not 2 inches from the top. Derpy derp. Let's see. Let's measure 1.5. Mark right here. And tap, 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 tap. That was loud. All right, that's pretty punched. All right. It's a big piece of metal. There we go. There's the hole. So I'm going to do this on both sides and we'll test fit it. As you can see, it's in the right spots. I just need to drill the holes out a little bigger. I use the biggest stepper bit I have and I'll need to go up a little bit bigger. But once that's in, this will drop in, that will drop in. And the holes that usually mount it, you know, so it doesn't move back and forth. This one won't have anything, but what I might do is, because it's same vertically or horizontally in line with its old mount, whenever I get the piping in here, I'll see if it's possible to just run a bracket from here to here. Push it back like that. And over here, I'm going to see not much material in that hole right there. I might be able to see if I can put a nut cert right here. And I can just bolt it to the nut cert. But that's looking kind of chintzy. But maybe if it drops down a little bit, maybe I'll have more area to cut into. But this looks good. And now I just got to figure out how to mount the Honda style radiator in these mounts, because I know I want to do something right here. I think what I can do is use one of these factory mounts and then right here build a bracket, like an L bracket, drill a hole in it and mount it that way, and then figure out some attachment up here. Maybe go off this factory one, make a bracket going this way. We'll have to see, but it's going good.